Okay, so today we're talking about your gut. Your gut is this big long tube that happens to go from right up here all the way down to the other end. It's just a big continuation of your skin, even though everybody says it's something else. It's a big continuation of your skin comes all over your body, happens to turn this corner, gets a little bit more complicated with some mucus on top of it, goes down this big tube, goes to the bottom, turns a corner again, turns back into your skin again. So it's not as complicated as everyone makes it out to be. If we were to take that tube and pull it apart and cut it and look at it sideways, just like the diagram, what you'd see is the top layer is a mucous membrane. So mucus is very much like aloe vera or any of those squishy clear substances that you've seen around the place. The thing about aloe vera or that mucus is that it's really dependent on water. So really important that you get enough water so that that mucous membrane works properly. Underneath that mucus lies a layer of good and bad bacteria. So probiotics, as well as bad bacteria, as well as yeast and things can hang out there. Good bacteria and bad bacteria need a bit of a balance. I'm sure you've heard it before on, the occasional TV channel. And the balance needs to be there because good bacteria have a range of jobs. The jobs that they mostly include are things like the fireman and looking after all the inflammation and heat. The policeman, looking after any brawls or any upsets that happen in your tummy. The nurses that look after all the little incidences that might arise. As well as there's some factory workers and some people bacteria that fill up some space. They're just your general Acidophilus and Bifidus, but there's others that are really specific and have specific targets. The bad bacteria, on the other hand, are things like the brawls that you might see outside nightclubs and throwing their cans around and causing havoc and bringing all their friends in. So those hooligans can cause you long-term issues when it comes to food intolerances, allergens, IBS issues, as well as lowered immune system and other autoimmune disorders. So the three main things that can happen with an imbalance of good and bad bacteria, and the reason why they're so important is because they are the first place that nutrients come in. So number one, nutrients come in. Number two is your immune system. They're the first place that anything from your external environment, things outside of your body, come and hit inside your body. So the issue there is if you're starting to respond to things like bacteria, viruses, or other pathogens like parasites, then your body needs to know about that. And those good and bad bacteria are the first response team to give that message to your body. So some chemical messages sent to your body and your body can create an immune response to that. The third thing is 75% of your neurotransmitters are actually built in your gut lining. So 75% of your happy hormones, 75% of your ability to feel happy is actually built in your gut. So think about it, when you get that excited feeling and you get that butterflies in your stomach, that's actually where your neurotransmitters are being built. When you get nervous and anxious, again, that's where your happy hormones are being built inside your gut lining. If you can't look after that gut lining the way that you would like to, the way that's optimum, then you're actually missing out on 3/4 of your ability to feel happy. 1/4 of it's left for your brain, but 3/4 of it's in your gut. So that's nutrients in, your immune system, and your gut lining that those good and bad bacteria are giving you the first signals about. The next layer underneath there is your cells. So the strength of your cells and the integrity of those cell membranes is really, really important for any nasties to not get through. Underneath there is your blood. And I've talked in another couple of videos about your blood, but your blood, particularly around your gastrointestinal lining, is so important because three major things happen there. One is that your nutrients go in. So this is the way that you get your nutrients in. You eat. Good food, generally, will soak all the way through that beautiful barrier. It'll go into those cells and then into your bloodstream and go exactly where it needs to around your body. Bad parts of your food, including bacteria, viruses, allergies, intolerances, or parasites, should slide on through off that mucous membrane. Issues that happen within your gut lining. That top layer, the one of your mucus and the good bacteria, are highly, highly dependent on a couple of things. They will disappear if you have pH changes, if you have stress, if you have dehydration, if you've had anti-inflammatories, antihistamines, antibiotics, and a whole range of other things that can change that mucous membrane integrity. If that top layer disappears, those good bacteria that signed up for those wonderful jobs aren't really comfortable in that zone anymore. They signed up for a nice cushy mattress and you've just taken it all away. So they're out with the next poo. What happens then is that beautiful protective barrier that was looking after your gastrointestinal lining is also out with the next poo. So unfortunately, all those good things and all those bad things that were sliding on past and soaking on in are now going to be hammering on a fairly raw kind of lining. Just the same as if you took the top layer of your skin off, and it wouldn't really matter if you put the most beautiful soft cashmere sweater over the top of it, it would still be quite painful. You'd feel the inflammation, the redness, the heat and the swelling, just the same as what happens in your gut lining. That inflammation, heat and swelling unfortunately has nowhere to go in your gut lining and goes in between the cells. So you have, instead of tight junctions in between the cells, you actually have a permeable membrane, or a leaky gut, some people call it. Unfortunately, those things that were getting past before, like bacteria, viruses, allergens, intolerances and parasites, are now going to be leaking parts of them, small parts of proteins, into your bloodstream. This is what happens when your immune system starts to respond to these. You end up having even more allergies and intolerances to what you thought you were going to before, that you weren't even responding to before, and now become an issue. So highly, highly important to look after that gut lining. Things that we can do for the mucous membrane include looking after the mucus, so keeping it nice and hydrated, looking after fibre, and keeping those probiotics in.